Starting
Yeah, let's
recording
get
now.
let's get orderly, y'all.
Yeah. Is
We
there a
are.
gavel emoji? Can I do a gavel emoji? No, I can't.
There should be something because we've got two. We've got my two nitro boosts on our server now. Because I went ahead and threw money at the problem. It said something about it. Whoa, whoops. Sorry, folks at home. You can't see this. What I do? What I do? There. Okay. Can't minimize that, or they won't be able to see it in the video. All right. Yeah. So we're being recorded. We could look into the gavel emoji later. Or were you thinking for Notion? Whoa, what happened? We lost our chairman. Uh,
Hello, hello.
he's back.
There we go. Sorry. We're recording, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot I was on my phone and I clicked into the board meetings on my computer and it kicked the phone. And
Yeah. I've done that
anyway, that's
before.
too tedious of a story to burden the people at home listening to this with. All right. This meeting is called to order. All right, let's begin with attendance. The usual Stephen, myself, Peter, and James in attendance here.
Yep.
Meeting minutes from last week. Any corrections to make to those minutes?
Nope.
Negatory Ghost Rider.
Yeah, this is a pretty short one last week. Okay. All right, standing topics and reports, nonprofit administration. Stephen, take it away.
Yes. So first thing to report on, I got reassurance and follow up on um, where is it? The for Linux this year for scale. Um,
Oh, nice.
uh, the latest update is Bella should follow up soon, but I imagine he'll want logos, text for the website, etc., as in past years. So I think I've mostly relied on art for that. I could also probably get some of our newest pieces that we've got for the stickers and everything to go up with that as well. Um, but yeah, so we know we're on that list of people to be contacted, and we can probably follow up late or maybe mid February if we haven't heard from him by then. And then let's see. Oh no, what is going on? I'm looking at our savings. What were we at last week?
686.52.
Yeah, okay. Then that has not changed, and I haven't called
All
them
right.
about the service charge again. Um, let's see here. Uh, Fear business non and we're at 2,000. Yep, $2,152.74 for the checking account. Is that what we had last week? Yeah, they reimbursed.
2,152 and 74 cents, right?
2,152. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's 2 months in a row that the checking account gave us a service charge, and then the following month they did it to our savings. So I got to call them about that. My apologies for not getting that done this week. Um, and I believe that's all she wrote.
Okay. Let me just notate. So no change on the fee, right?
Correct. On the savings account fee.
Okay. And so that's the financial report. Shall we move on to Hack Night?
Yes. Hack night. I remember having loads of fun, as per usual. Anything in particular stand out? I don't think we got any noobs.
It was the Dodgers versus the Padres,
Yeah.
and it was very, very crowded.
We
and there
struggled.
were some young hooligans that were across from us.
I just was like,
yeah,
these guys are high
hooligans.
schoolers. They're like,
Those whippersnappers.
Yeah.
little high school boys sharing the back booth with us, feeling awkward. I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's their phase to not want to engage with us, and they probably like are focused on what a game or their parents that like left them off in the corner.
Yes. Children are the future, and the future is fucked.
I was. It is true, very true. Well, I was kind of shocked, I guess, that we didn't do anything that got them engaged, right? Because like we should be very much in the business of getting the intention of people like about to enter the workforce for the first time or at the youngest phase of their careers. Like we should. There should be a little more, I would think, that would attract their attention and be like, oh, like you guys use Linux or I don't know what, just something that could have possibly spurred conversation.
That'd be like Steve Buscemi in that one movie where he's got the skateboard in the hat.
Hey, fellow kids.
Right?
Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah,
Nah, man.
not gonna lie, it's
They ain't the workforce. They
yeah.
ain't the workforce. Nah.
But I'm not gonna lie, that's definitely the motivation I have in mind there. It's like we need to be like cool for the next generation.
Well then, we gotta get sexy.
Get
You want to be
swifty.
cool for the next generation? Sex appeal, baby.
Oh man.
This is totally being recorded, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next thing we're gonna be quoting Dazed and Confused. High school girls,
No.
high school girls.
Don't say it. Don't
No,
say it.
no,
Decorum,
no,
decorum.
Decorum,
no,
okay.
no,
Yeah.
Order
No.
order in the
No.
order in the boardroom.
no.
Order. All right. Let's quickly move on from that. All right. Yeah, so I have noticed that we haven't had a lot of new faces, though. We've had some consistent regulars. Kevin has been a consistent regular, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
You guys being all buddy. I'm not jealous. You're jealous. Shut up.
And I also raised the when to meet thing, and discovered that when to meet is actually not very good on a cell phone. And when you try to click the little like segments of time, it ends up like putting random little squares everywhere. And yep, I'm looking at the when to meet right now, and basically I put a bunch of random squares everywhere, and one other person put a bunch of random squares anywhere. So I think I'm just gonna call that a failure, and I'm just gonna like pick a date and throw it out and just be like, hey, does anyone object to this date?
Something on that, like I guess save this thought in mind for future discussion because I feel like we do want to get at it at some point. Is when to meet an open source software?
I doubt it. It's just hosted.
Okay.
It's just a website.
Yeah, because it seems like it's at least really simple, and if like there's none of it's
Honestly, does
vitals.
Notion have something? Because I probably should have
Yeah, that might be a
Uh,
thought.
look for that appointment time poll or something like that. Ah,
So, a goal that I have in mind for Uncoded down the road is that we become a pathway for people to get into um, being a part of the open source community and of contributors,
mhm.
right? But people need to like be able to learn and get some guidance and direction to know how to follow through with that. And the only reason like I'm like we're just not there yet, at least for me, is I'm not there yet. Like I don't, I've been starting to peek under the hood of some of my favorite softwares like FreeCAD, and I
Mhm.
still don't know how to contribute. But as soon as I find out, I'm gonna be like wanting to tutor that pathway for anybody else who wants to join up.
Yeah, I've kind of been in that position when it comes to like contributing to open source software. And I like the advice I've received, which I still have not like followed on, is just like get in there and do it. And just like fix something like do a pull request for something that's just like menial, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just get experience with doing the pull request and getting to know the people on a certain project, and then like your appetite for doing more complicated things will grow over time. But just like start with something that's pretty easy to do, and it could just be like fixing a line in documentation.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is I notice amongst the first things that I find that I can criticize any anything with is something like documentation, right? Where I'm like, oh, that could be phrased better, or I don't get what it means.
Mhm.
But when I figure out what it means, I'm gonna find a way to make it sound much more understandable. And so that's a great point. Like if as you're like going through the learning process of trying to figure out what's under the hood of a software, if like you're
Mhm.
running into those blockades, as soon as you understand like what's going on, well then you could contribute to their documentation in a way that's gonna improve things and at least help in that way. But then documentation itself is a clusterfuck with most of these softwares.
Yeah.
So there's
Well,
that too.
so like one thing that this is getting a little off topic, but it's a fun topic. Uh, Gen AI is amazing. Like you can drop a piece of code that you don't understand, like even if it's a language you don't know, right? If it's like C++, plus plus, just like drop some code into to I use Llama 70B a lot,
Oh,
and
okay.
just be like, write a doc string for this. And then like, you're still the human. You still have to like go through it and kind of do like a sniff test with it and make sure that it's like it makes sense and it's not missing things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's really great at explaining things to you to understand it, and like you can go through it to kind of make sure that the logic, as you understand it, is like matching with what the documentation says.
So you're saying you use the Olama like from your computer?
Um, I'm working on that. I use DuckDuckGo AI. The benefit of doing it on your computer is I can have it like read the source directly from my code. But I just don't have a good enough GPU to run the 70 billion parameter version, and the 8 billion parameter version is good but not great. Like I have to. I mean, in some ways, that's more. It puts a little more on me, right? So when I do the 8B version and I have it like produce a doc string for me, I really do have to go over it and be like, that's not completely accurate. Like that's not the best way to describe that. Um, but the 80B version or 70B version, I'm just like amazed at what it will do. It's insane.
Interesting.
And there's this saying in code that, comments or code never lies, comments sometimes do. So like having a lot of comments and documentation is a big maintenance nightmare because when you make an update, you may not realize that some piece of documentation now is in direct contradiction with the code. And like Gen AI is like kind of making that obsolete because you can just be like, go over this and make sure all the comments are consistent with the code, and just
Right.
like tell me where the comment is wrong, and it'll do it. It's pretty amazing.
Nice. Okay. Well, this is a great
Yeah.
find. DuckDuckGo AI.
Yeah,
Um,
it's free. It's in beta, and they have like a limit on how much you can do per day, but I rarely hit that limit.
yeah. And you've got some
Partly
fun
because I've
options.
learned to just put more requests into a single command. So I'll never I won't do it so much back and forth. I'll just like ask it to do 10 things in a single message. Um, but yeah, uh,
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
have to play with
and
it.
it's private and they don't train on your conversations.
Really? So they've managed to keep it private. I remember was there someone that told me that was there somewhere I heard that DuckDuckGo was actually like backed by Microsoft and that some of
I
or was
I
it
haven't heard that.
Firefox was backed by
I don't
Microsoft?
know that either one is backed by Microsoft, but if Mozilla were backed by Microsoft, the only reason I could imagine that happening would be from like when they had the antitrust cases against over browsers, and that Microsoft might have just done that to just like clear their name a little bit. But
All right. Well, so yeah, we got sidetracked. We should probably get back to the meeting, but like where I was saying before, um,
Mhm.
I do want to try and make this path for our newcomers. Maybe even make our own little roadmap to contributing to open source projects with a few
Mhm.
examples in mind that we have become passionate about, and that I feel like um, that will be really great if we do it right because like nothing better in my mind than to go this software sucks, somebody should fix it, and then go AI, show me how to fix this. And then you like actually can go and do it.
Yeah.
That's my dream of the future.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good,
I
Brad.
think it's a good goal. In fact, we should probably put this in our idea pool.
Yes, yes, let's do that.
Um, how would you describe that? Increasing opportunities for like introducing people to contributing to FOSS?
I would say build a roadmap for yeah, FOSS contribution or
Okay.
roadmap forward slash tutorial.
Or Flash tutorial?
Like forward slash, like as in, you know, either a
Uh,
roadmap or a tutorial or something kind of combined as both.
uh, let's see. It's hard for me to put that in one sentence. Tutorial for contributing to FOSS.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what. Now I'm back in that situation where I actually don't want to go home at the end of the day because I'm working on trying to figure out like really fun under the hood stuff with FreeCAD. I was like, I'm dying for like his. There's some ideas I already have of like ways in which I want to contribute, but I don't know
Yeah.
enough about it to know how just yet.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where the biggest obstacle is just like doing that first thing.
Yeah,
And my understanding is once you do that first pull request and like it gets accepted and you're like, holy crap, my code is in like a real project now.
yeah,
Um, then I think from there just like it's just growth. But the first just taking that leap is the hardest part.
yeah.
Which is why even after being a programmer for like 15 years, I still haven't actually contributed to any open source software.
Well, there's always tomorrow.
Always tomorrow. Yeah. The best time to plant a tree is tomorrow. Anyway, okay. So getting back on track now. Anything else on Hack Night?
No, just another successful one. Except for we were crowded because of the baseball game. Um,
Hmm.
if we do get some kind of notice of sports events, what would you guys say of maybe trying to arrange some major events where we could expect the place to be crowded? We can arrange to go to District Pizza instead. Like, I know it wasn't a preferred spot, but if it means getting space, we go there,
Yeah.
and maybe we're kind of like overlapping with trivia whenever we feel like it.
Um, that's a possibility. Yeah. I think yeah, the only downside to that is just the risk of people being in the wrong place, but it's across the street. So if we
Yeah.
just yeah, make sure that we're advertising it on the Matrix and the Discord.
Yeah,
Um,
I still got to coordinate with Josh to make sure that I've got the meetup privileges to
yeah.
change things.
I guess it's more of a risk for newcomers. If someone happens to come for the first time that week because they saw the poster, then there's not necessarily a way to get it to them unless the restaurant actually tells them, oh yeah, it's not here this week. But I don't know how reliably we can ask the the servers to
Oh,
inform everybody who comes in and asks about it.
if we do it
And some
often
people might
enough,
not even ask.
if we do it often enough, I'm sure Allison would be like a great informant, if nothing else. So like, I'm
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, they're always across the street when they know that there's a big game.
yeah.
Her name is Alicia, I think.
Alicia,
No, it's Alyssa.
Alyssa. Wow.
Are you just are you just is this a bit?
No.
This is not a booth. How dare
Okay.
you? How dare you?
Because I don't think this is the first time you've gotten her name wrong.
No, this is the
No,
first
that's
time you got her name wrong. I always
It's
remember her name.
if
Why
Allison's
don't
not
I
her
pull up
name,
my like hundreds of receipts from Kennedy's and see what name is on it?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that, Peter? Why don't you do that
All right,
right
I
now?
will. Yeah,
Sammy
I'm
keeps
looking
the
at it, and
receipts.
okay, well, it was Kelsey that week, so that's no, not that one. Alyssa, Alyssa.
Oh my gosh.
What did I tell you?
You said Alicia.
No, you said Alicia.
You
Okay.
said Alicia.
Confession for me, I said Allison. This whole time I thought that I overheard James say her name was Allison long ago, and I've been saying Allison this whole time.
Oh yeah, we're gonna blame the one guy who knows how to remember people's names. Okay. Yeah,
If her
let's.
Let me just say, as somebody who's frequently called Patrick and Steven, and I just at this point I just respond to it, right? So like she probably gets it all the time. She probably just responds to Melissa and Alicia and Allison.
Okay, so
Whoa.
Alyssa is the actual name.
Yes, Alyssa.
Okay, I need a mnemonic. So Alice, but with a Latin A at the end. Alyssa, Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Okay.
Alyssa with the swisher.
Alyssa
Alice,
with the
so-
what?
A swisher. It's a cigarette.
Like yeah, okay.
Okay.
Like Swisher Sweets.
No, but I think
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland is
But
probably
not
going to be a better
hard R
mnemonic for
on the
me.
Swisher.
Alyssa. Yeah, like freaking. There's a quote from a movie, and I don't even know the movie. That's been like my mnemonic for thinking her name was Allison. Like,
Alice in Wonderland.
so yeah, Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, that's gonna be the new mnemonic. It's like Alyssa, not Alice,
Alyssa with the Swisher. Yeah.
Alyssa. And yeah, oh my gosh,
That mnemonic
I feel for
doesn't
her.
help. Remember that it's not Melissa with the Swisher.
I feel bad if people have also confused her name with Alexa.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. All right. So if we're done with Hack Night Report, then let's move on to old business. We don't have anything pending for print, right? Except that when the date is decided for the trivia night,
exactly.
I'll give you that flyer to an updated version of that flyer. By the way, James freaked me out. I sent that a copy of that flyer to you and to James as direct messages on Discord. And James, I think it was because I friended him at the same time that I sent that. And he had thought that I sent it to him and to the entire DataCon LA like general chat. And I was like driving at the time, so I like pulled over. I'm like, no, did I really send it to? Because it has like the day I sent it was I had the just as a fill-in date that date, right, October 6th. So I'm like, if I sent that to that chat, a bunch of people are gonna think this is an event tonight. But I think it was just that like it said you are in this group with Peter, like you're both in the same channel,
Okay.
and it just made it look like I sent it to him and to DataCon LA.
Oh, I mean, worst case scenario, they're gonna be like, "Oh, too late," and then it'll look
Yeah,
like we
right.
just got another date when we do the right date.
Yeah, but no, it was yeah, it was a direct message to James.
Excuse me.
By the way, I feel like I gotta brag. I my professor gave me a huge compliment, saying like I just tell you to do things and you do them. Like when I was finishing up on the like using the CNC for machining 101. I was using the mechanical CNC and programming in to do this really dynamic cube, but he had us practice on wood before we would do aluminum. So I just finished the wood examples, and he was really impressed. He's like, he didn't need to instruct me on anything, and I'm actually even tutoring the other guy in the class with me, because poor dude
Nice.
like never passed pre algebra. So I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
let me help you out with these coordinate systems.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't wait to be finished with that cube, and then I got a personal project. Like I have steel that I specifically got because it's easy to magnetize, and it's hard to find washers made of this steel. So I just grabbed a rod, and I'm gonna put it on a lathe and cut washers for a personal project at home
Okay.
that I just need to be magnetizable washer.
Sorry, I'm just hearing someone say that they're going to make their own washers for a personal project is one of the geekiest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, right. Cutting metal is fun. Oh,
It sure is.
since we're like having so much fun, I'm gonna sidetrack one more time here. I'm very proud of an interaction I had with a scam-ish caller, or whatever. Right, like
Hmm.
my number's on the do not call list. I get pissed off at these people when they call me every freaking time, and I try to waste their time. Right. Well, so this one dude, he like calls and he's like, "So you're a homeowner, right?" I'm like, "Uh huh." And he's like, "So would you like any work done? Like the government's like got grants and everything paying for it." And I'm like, Well, do you do any metal work?" He's like, What kind of metal work were you talking about?" I'm like, like yeah. Let me see. How do I put this? Like, using like a lathe or a CNC. It's like it's actually a lot of fun, dude. Like you actually could go to like your community college like nearby and maybe inquire like a machining 101 class, and
Hmm.
it's a lot of fun, dude. Like you could get paid a lot of money just like cutting metal. And like immediately he kind of caught on to what I was saying, and he's like, "Huh, that actually does sound pretty cool." Like, and by the end of the conversation, he was like, "Thanks for the tips." No problem, dude. Take care.
Nice. All right. Um, so I think that's all on the print jobs, right? So let's
Mm-hmm.
move on to 3D printing class. Any changes there, Steve?
3D printing, no changes. I'm stuck with other priorities that I've put before it. Um,
Okay.
I will get back to it eventually, but this is
No
just
problem. All right,
it's
no
not easy with a
progress.
full time job and a long ass commute.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you got a lot going on. It's no problem.
Mm.
Okay, so moving on to trivia night. Not a lot of developments except those were already talked about under other agenda headings. Got a flyer. Once we choose a date, we're gonna um, update that flyer and just get out there and start posting it. And aside from that, I don't think there's anything new. Maybe we can talk about a date because the when to meet was not a total success. Um, so I'm just going to throw one out there. What do you guys think of doing it the 23rd, Wednesday, the 23rd of October?
I can fit on it.
Wednesday 23rd. I should be able to um, make it, but if I can't, don't mind me because I'm not going to be reliable for
Mm-hmm.
trivia night unless it's an emergency where you need somebody to spot you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so
Anything
far
about
things.
prestige or emergency.
Yeah, so far it looks like even Sean is going to be busy that night, so I should be able to make it on over.
Okay. Then why don't I just drop that in the chat right now? 7 p.m., right? Usual. That was good last time.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Oh, one more thing about the about hack nights. James, I would recommend not dropping in the general chat, where's everybody at? Because for people who don't come, it kind of looks like our hack nights are completely empty all the time.
Okay.
Wait, what's this?
Sometimes because James gets there before us, and sometimes he'll put "Where's everybody at?" or "Where's everybody?" in
Oh,
the
yeah.
Discord chat, but all the people who aren't there are driving, so we never respond to it. We just show up. Um, yeah.
I
So
get
we usually have a pretty good attendance, but people are coming later.
I get that concern. I just want to, I guess, give me some time to think about it, or give it some thought yourselves. Maybe some kind of a twist on it can make it less possible to give that
Yeah,
sort of influence, but still like show us all coordinated.
that's not a bad idea. Yeah, maybe phrase it in a way that um, yeah.
Here's a thought. Like
We'll
when you
say something
post.
like, "You guys have abandoned me yet again." Is that better?
No, like you know how on videos where people are real eager to be like first commenter and they just put first something like that, right? Like first to have arrived, right? Brag
Oh
about
yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. I'll be the one. So from here on out, I'll be say first to comment when nobody has shown up.
it. First to comment
All
to
right,
the event.
that's actually pretty good. Yeah, just
Does that make you happy, Peter?
yeah, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Or you could just individually DM every single person that you expect to be there.
Just like post to me a video of I think it's what's that man? Oh, Good Charlotte. Am I alone in here?
But also another thing is, we should post pictures more often. Like Yasmin has been kind of when she's around the one who's like, hey, we should take a picture of the group, and I think we should post those pictures both in the Discord and in the Instagram.
All right.
Yeah, I apologize for slipping up on that. I have the phone charged, Um, but also I don't have Wi-Fi at my spot yet, and
Okay.
my data I have to like ration it, especially because now I'm gonna start taking parenting classes via Zoom, and
Wait,
yeah, I'm
so
just kind of
the the
I got
the
a lot of stuff going on right now.
the burner phone, you can just like have it, you like wait to upload things with Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta have a Wi-Fi connection. The thing is that I don't have one here at home,
Ah,
and I don't have like a spot that I can go to very easily that's got Wi-Fi.
yeah, that's a tough, that is a tough situation. Um, let's
Yeah, give me some time to figure it out because well, I still haven't even gotten my first bill for rent yet.
right.
And I'm like kind of nervous because I know that like I moved in on the 12th and I know that it's 637 and 637 plus however much it was for the day that I moved in. I don't know what that total is yet. And so like I'm kind of like before I go and start getting all these amenities,
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that my rent is squared away first, you
Yeah.
know?
Good idea.
But let's maybe at some point next hack night or in one of our conversations, I would like to actually go over like first we need to know like what your cable company is or what cable options you have, and like have a general discussion about like what's the cheapest deal with Wi-Fi these days, right? Like maybe getting it through a cellular service versus getting it um, at home. Like if we're really like in a situation like James is trying to pinch pennies, that's the kind of knowledge and information I'd like to have available for a lot of people that'll show up at our group.
Mm-hmm. I have found because I recently tried out the T-Mobile like 5G modem. Um, and I don't love it because the latency is too high for gaming. But for streaming and just general internet usage, it's like totally fine. And
What's
it's definitely cheaper than my Spectrum.
what's the monthly cost?
Like the top tier plan right now is $50, and that's like a promotional rate, but it's a locked in promotional rate, so it doesn't expire after like a year.
Good. What's the lower rates?
I
The
don't
lowest
remember,
deal.
probably like 30 or
All
something.
right, we'll research it later.
Yeah. But that the 50 is I think the like unlimited no throttling version. So like the 30 is I think like you hit a certain 50 gigabytes or something and then it starts slowing down.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I have with my Google Fi, I have 50 gigabytes of 5G, but then once I hit that 50 gigs, it's slowed way down.
Mm-hmm.
So um, part of what I'm thinking is because like I'm already throwing it out there anyway, we could maybe negotiate a thing where if you built up a practice of pre gaming before arriving at Hack Night, James, um, I we could arrange like instead of me feeding you, I can help hook you up with the bill because it'd be definitely like probably a cheaper overall kind of thing to try and get into that habit in general of like eating before showing up when you're trying to save money.
Yeah, I think two
Um,
meals at Kennedy's would be 1 month of internet.
Yep. These are
I appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah. I just need time, right? Because I just need some time because, not to get too personal, but I hung out with my mom 2 days ago, Friday, and she was like, "Hey, if you need anything, I got you." I was like, "Okay, cool. I need a car." And she's like, "Give me some time to figure it out, and I'll help you get a car."
Dang.
And I was like, "All right, cool."
That's nice.
Yeah, it is very, very nice. And I'm like, I'm not just gonna get like a any old car off the road either. Like this time I'm going for a Toyota Camry or a Corolla
Nice.
with under 10,000 miles.
Fun, fun.
Minimum.
Yeah. So I'm going for it.
All right.
All right, cool.
So let's see. Let's go ahead and move forward.
Yeah, we're all over the place, but I'm kind of okay with it today. I'm pretty
Same.
like ADD right now.
Well, none of us are in too much of a rush today, right?
No.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what's making this work. It's just fun. It's good spending time with friends. We need to do more like just hanging on Discord for the sake of hanging on Discord.
Yeah.
Or we hang out in person.
Well, we already do that.
Yeah, we see enough of each other's faces. We need more time without faces. No FaceTime.
I still gotta arrange something with like making use of my board game arena pro account again. So playing some online King of Tokyo, that would be the shit.
And there's a movie night now that we've discovered that
Right?
one person in this group has not seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and another person hasn't seen This Is Spinal Tap.
Yeah. Sundays and Saturday evenings tend to work out best.
Okay.
Hey,
Um,
where are we at?
so we're on outreach, recruitment, and fundraising. Is there anything to add here, or is this kind of pretty much same as last week?
Well, that's your arena, right? Like like maybe just update us
Me
how
and James.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I can say I have nothing to add from last week. So
Okay.
I don't know if James has anything or if there are any ideas that anyone wants to throw out.
I got nothing.
All right.
All right.
Nobody got nothing.
But yeah, so are there plans in the future to do a ride along?
Yeah. Um, basically, I think the next thing I want to do is advertise the trivia night specifically.
All right.
And I kind of want to go all out with that, and give it the best chance of getting quite a crowd. And that might prove to be a good funnel for newcomers into the group. And we can try to get, if people come and they enjoy it, then try to get them to show up to Hack Night as well. Um, and yeah, so once we finalize that date, hopefully people respond quickly in the Discord and we can just say, all right, it's going to be October 23rd. Then I'll send you the final version of the flyer. And you can send that to get out printed, and then James, if you're available, we can basically just hit up the whole city and post those flyers. I would like to
You know,
work
I'm
in.
all about mobbing my city, bro.
What's that?
I'm all about mobbing my city.
Yeah. um, I would like to try to add some spots to the list that might also bring some younger, like high school age attendees. Bring in the youth. Uh, I'm not really sure how to do that aside from just like seeing if we can post it at high schools, or just in the area of high schools.
Yeah, things.
Because right now I think we're sort of in the like early career to mid-career like demographic with a little bit of current college attendees. Rarely, actually. I don't know what was the last person who came who was still in college.
Let's see. So that let's see. I know there have been a few, but there's only one face that comes to mind. I'm forgetting his name. But we see him at scale like every year. Um,
Oh,
let me see. There's a thought I have with regards to this, like outreaching to the youth directly instead of like through another organization like OGC. I'm I'm thinking if we want to go that route, then we should have something that's a little more along the lines of offering ourselves as like STEM tutors,
hmm
because like that, like a little bit of casual free tutoring um, over STEM for high school students, that actually would would both be like making us like clearly not something to be afraid of, but at the same also what is it I also still establish that possible path of like now when you guys turn
hmm
18 and you're like not sure what to do, we're already here for you, like help here to help
Yeah.
you, give you guidance in your career path.
Yeah. Well, I am definitely available for like doing some Python tutoring for uh, like high school age, uh, and or even developing a class. But yeah, I guess it's just a matter of um, getting the audience and getting the venue.
Right.
But yeah, if an opportunity comes up, like if you meet someone who's like, "Hey, my kid wants to learn how to program or something," then
What
definitely refer them to me.
so yeah, what I'm saying is that when we advertise to something that's directly a high school, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there's probably some eggshells we need to walk on with regard to that because we're
Yeah.
an adult group that drinks every week
Right.
to hang out and talk shop. So having them show up at Hack Night is probably not going to be the best look for us. But for them to have another way in which they interact with us, come up onto our
hmm
Discord and just ask for advice with the math that they're stuck on, or even
Yeah.
if they like are curious about programming, how to get them started, then that's a whole nother deal. So like we
Yeah, I guess that's why
yeah.
I was thinking Trivia Night would be a good one to start advertising to a younger audience
Oh, okay.
for because because it's not meeting up at a bar and grill. And you know, that's the more people there are, the more younger people there are, the less of a problem that is. But when you're starting out and like one high schooler shows up and it's a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds,
Right.
then it starts to be like, okay, let's like maximize propriety here.
Right.
Um, but if it's like an event that's totally designed to just be all ages, um,
Yeah.
then and it's in an environment that isn't like where people aren't drinking, and yeah,
Yeah. No,
it
I hear
feels
you.
more like a safer space for a younger audience than just like meeting up in some some bar.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I for some reason I was disconnected on the part that you were saying it's trivia night you wanted to advertise.
Ah,
So yeah,
yes, yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
already have that actually guided in the path of being youth friendly. So yeah,
yeah, yeah, and but to kind of join up with what you were saying, other types of events that aren't hack night that can be all ages and in an all ages venue. I mean, Kennedy's is an all ages venue, but I think having some place like OTC or something would be the best
yeah,
for bringing in a younger audience.
yeah. Like I'd be okay if a parent was handing their teenager off to us at Hack Night, but I would be like concerned if a teenager's like walking to Hack Night themselves or dropped off outside and we don't get any confirmation like from the
Yeah.
parent. Then I'd be like, either this is a severe case of neglect in which I'm like, okay, fuck it, we'll just be the kid's mentor, or it can be like, are we liable for something here? I want to be
hmm
sure.
Such as those suspicious teenagers at Kennedy's this week.
Right.
Where were their parents?
Exactly.
I know they weren't earning that money for those buffalo wings on their own.
Right.
Man, that kid left a lot of buffalo wings on the table too when he left. Like,
Did he really?
uh,
They seemed like the
I remember.
wasteful type.
Yeah, I just, I'm such a, I act like I grew up in the Depression. I just wanted to be like, can you just grab that plate for me?
Damn, you could have.
James, you still hungry?
Always.
There you go. Anyway, so yeah, that sounds like a good idea. We can definitely advertise trivia night on high school campuses.
hmm Yeah, I'll have to see what the restrictions are there. I imagine they will have plenty, much like the libraries.
Yeah.
So, they might, yeah, yeah, they'll probably have some limits, and it might have to be like, well, we can advertise, like you said, STEM tutoring or something, but we can't advertise this event or something.
Yeah. We'll figure it out and work with them, whatever their needs are.
hmm
Okay, are we going on to open forum?
I think we've kind of been in open forum the whole
Oh,
time.
yeah, it has felt like one of those days. So let's see. Election time has come around. I got my uh, mail-in ballot delivered.
Yeah, me too.
So there is a part of me that kind of wants to let rant night be an official thing where everybody has their own opinions to bring to the table and everything, but there should be like a whole debate pool where we don't walk away with any hard feelings just because we think somebody's politics are dumb, but we
hmm
have an opportunity to not only like exchange thoughts and opinions, but also get each other to be more likely to engage and be involved in the community body politic. Um, what do you guys think about something like that as like an official side of Uncoded?
I think it would be probably more beneficial if we were just to focus on like specific legislations and propositions and talk about that so that we don't get so emotionally riled up because the thing is that the system of things relies on us uh preys on us really to get emotionally riled up when it comes to politics in order to create further division. But I think that if we were to do like be like, oh hey, this is Proposition 36 and this is what it's about and this is what's going on, as opposed to like giving an opinion, it would probably be better not just for Uncoded, but just for society in general.
Your thoughts,
I,
Peter?
I would say definitely for referenda and local policies, like that's definitely a good idea, and those are less emotional, right? Nobody's nobody's gonna like burn down Congress over a local bond for a school. Um, yeah, I one reservation I have is just that. Well, okay, so like a positive thing is I think when it comes to political discussions outside of the internet, um, the world is a lot more open than people think it is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like people are a lot less uh, divided than we think. On the internet, it just seems like everybody's either red or blue, and they're all willing to go to like fight to the death over their point of view.
Right.
But like most people you meet are like willing to listen to some idea that they don't completely disagree with, or that they don't completely agree with. And so on the one hand, I think like, okay, it's great to have like an environment where we say that we just say like we're going to talk about this, and everybody like is going to be civil, and it's okay. Like it's okay to disagree, and but then on the other hand, like I don't know if our venue is the best place for it. Like part of the risk would just be, even if people are having a civil conversation, some people just might not show up because they don't care for that type of conversation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, Pure speculation here, so I'm just throwing that out there. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think these are great points. the main concern being like a great primary concern you brought up, James. I'm thinking we can definitely just read off of the ballot, right? Because the ballot is kind of designed in that neutral fashion, to show not only like the proposal in a neutral way, but what both sides are saying about it. And there's a part of me that also wants to try and incorporate like there should be a simplification for fact checking, right? And being able to like not get caught up in the solipsistic weeds of saying we can't know anything, to like actually being able to go and like get a realistic idea, not only of what we believe is reality, but getting knowing the parameters of like how that could even still be wrong, right? And then going with what we will from there, with our decisions. Also being able to just objectively talk about strategy as a factor, right? Because like you're absolutely right, Peter. Like in online, people are just like blowing up. Like I get kicked from rooms just for offering that my 2 cents is that if you don't like any of the candidates, you should still show up to vote and write in abstain. But like I can't mention that in an online room or forum without a moderator of all freaking people wanting to be like, I don't like you. Shush, we're not talking about this. Bye, silence. Yeah. And it's like censorship galore. But the fact is that there is an objective side to this, and I'm not saying my opinions are the objectively correct ones, but I aspire to make them such, and I know a lot of people that do aspire in the same way to just be correct about things. So it's like there's conversations that should be had in a very rational sense, and like if we got involved in having political discussions in an official capacity for Uncoded, I'd want to make sure that we have got that down patent, like whatever that objective measured sense is. There will always be critics that are not going to agree with us, right? But we can at least be rest assured, like, well, fuck them. They don't like anybody who isn't believing that the earth is flat, right? So,
your mama's a flat earther.
Yeah, exactly. And so let's see. So I see also like every goddamn 4-year cycle. This is the time. This is not the time. We have to choose the lesser evil. You must choose. Like hey James, I'm either gonna break your arms or I'm gonna break your legs. You have to choose. You have to choose, James. Right. Like, of course, the appropriate response is actually the fuck you will.
Candidate. Go ahead, throw your vote away.
Right. And so like, and there's the whole factor of alternative voting. Like, why are like people seem knowledgeable about it, but nobody's talking about it, and they don't talk about it in between the 4-year cycles. So I'm just like, wait a minute. We all feel fucked. And we know why we're being fucked, but all you can talk about is how we're going to just let ourselves keep getting fucked harder. Right? Like, no subversion, no alternatives, no strategy being discussed. It's all, no, we just have faith in the incremental system that's never been incremental. And somehow that's supposed to work. So that's kind of like my thinking on it, is like there's some stuff here that we can actually go, no, like objectively, rationally, you're doing it wrong for most people that involve themselves into politics. And then to have a space where people can actually learn of the real objective factors, like alternative voting, like how we can get involved in our local system. I feel like if anything is really obligating me to be out there and promoting as an activist along political lines, it's that. Like, I feel bad that I don't know what it would take to affect the ballot in my local area, and I need to learn my local government system well enough so that I can go and be like, hey, you're not putting your candidate on the top. You're going to randomize that order. You're not going to make us have to choose with first past the post. In fact, I want to organize across the whole U.S. of A. all of the places that do first pass or that will do alternative voting to collaborate and like let all of our votes come down to a system of alternative votes so that it's whatever that candidate it is, that like we have a dynamic system of calculating that will show that you're not throwing your vote away, for the bigger system to like promote this idea that it should be the popular vote, screw the electoral college, and we can get more and more districts on board with like being like, yeah, no, we're going to just take on the popular vote of the greater alternative voting system and make you deal with that. Like there's stuff like that we could be doing to just get involved and break these freaking chains of oppression that we're all suffering from. And I don't know, I feel like that's the direction to go. That's the thing that nobody's doing enough of, if they're doing it at all. Definitely not talking enough about. It is shameful if your number one conversation right now is this candidate bad, my candidate not as bad, and you've never once spoken of alternative voting in the last 4 years to like say that this is solution to not having any bad at all, then like what's wrong with you? You're the idiot going out and calling everybody else idiots. Like you need alternative voting to fix the spoiler effect.
I feel like the division on the internet can be. This is my pure like speculative hypothesis. Zero evidence here, but like this is just kind of like how I look at it is, on the internet you have 7 cohorts of the entire society. 2 of them are on the greatest extremes: right-wing terrorists and left-wing terrorists. The ones who like believe so strongly that they'll like kill people over it. And then slightly inside of those would be just like right-wing, hardliners and left-wing hardliners. The people who are very vocal about their point of view, and that if anyone is against their point of view, they're in the wrong and they're ruining everything. Right? But not as extreme as terrorists. And then just inside of those 2 cohorts would be the people who are just like not that political, but they're kind of spineless, right? They're just like, oh, I have to pick a side. Like they hear all this stuff on the internet and they feel like they're going to get attacked if they don't just go to the left or go to the right. And then the dead center are the people, the both siders, the people who just like hate everybody and don't want to be a part of it. So there's like this, like I think the number of people in the US who are actually really polarized is probably pretty small.
Yeah.
And most people are kind of in the middle, but a lot of people feel like those vocal extremists are a bigger majority than they really are, and feel as if they're forced to go to one side or the other. Like I don't know, my sense, my feeling, my guess would be that like most people are actually kind of in the middle and fairly reasonable, but those people aren't the ones who say the most things online. The people who say the most things online are the extremists, and when you just see that much content online that is like the right is the only side that's correct or the left is the only side that's correct, then you start to believe that that's the entire country.
Yeah. No, and I
honestly, man, that's just the liberal media trying to confuse you.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I am definitely of a terrorist extreme, but I'm completely off the map. Like, I will kill you for lying.
Not, dude.
No, listen.
Right,
I'm off the
this
map.
is being recorded. Let me just
Yeah,
put that out there.
No, but I don't care anymore. No, listen. I'm not a terrorist leftist. I'm not a terrorist like red or blue. I'm off the map.
You're not
I'm
a
like
terrorist at all,
no,
man.
listen. I'm a terrorist in that I do want to kill you if you lie to me, and both sides have way too many freaking liars. So that's all I'm getting at.
All right. Well, when Steve gets arrested for murder, we no longer have we can no longer plausibly say we didn't see it coming. He just seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah,
The liars
think,
must die. No, but like,
Plausible deniability.
but like, to be serious though, like the I guess there's a factor in it for technological solutions as well. Like, so it's not just a
Yeah.
matter of strategy, like alternative voting, but like something academic and educational here at play is, can we ever like make a vote that can't be fucked with? Can we ever have a technological system, like maybe like a blockchain kind of level of security that protects our votes, and if and at the same time decentralizes the vote? Um,
So I think that's when it comes to introducing political topics into what we do, definitely anything that relates to technology or local politics, those are very easy to justify, right? Like we don't need to be talking about Israel and Gaza, but like talking about yeah, like vote safety or maybe a Long Beach specific policy. Like, John, when he came that time, he was talking, he's involved a lot in the local policy related to tech, right? Like he said that Long Beach has a bunch of fiber that's been laid but hasn't been turned into an actual working public internet service. Like that's something we have a clear reason to be talking about. And it's also very unlikely to invoke any right wing or left wing terrorists who hate fiber or love fiber. Um, yeah.
so, how's this for summarizing kind of what I'm getting at, and I think what you're agreeing with me on is, in the ideal pool, involve uncoded in activities that educate and inform about local politics and tech solutions for politics. And we can maybe like, what was that example you gave? Just one more time.
Oh, the fiber example,
Yeah,
like a Long Beach, public internet utility.
Fiverr for a public internet.
Fiber, not fiber,
Fiber. Oh, right. Yes.
like fiber optic. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
It would be kind of cool to get little local professionals on Fiverr and ask them to look something up for you on the internet, and then they'll get it back to you.
Yeah. Fire city. Uh, giving free internet to city. Yeah, and then documenting all of the roadblocks that happen to come up, because there's definitely, it's like, as much as we'd hate to get like political on the level of individuals, there's individuals blockading that, right? That's why our former founders of this organization couldn't get that project to go through, because there's too many hands in the cookie jar demanding that they get paid off in some way before they'll do this one thing, which is already belonging to the people of Long Beach.
What was their involvement in?
So all I know,
Uh,
like, I would even imagine John, James's boss, probably knows even more than I could ever say about the situation. But like, they're like Lincoln and I think both the mics, they were trying to get the fiber optics to be something like free internet for the city, like free Wi-Fi
mhm.
all over Long Beach, and they kept like running into roadblocks, like hoops that they couldn't jump through, um, politically, to like just get access to it.
Mhm.
So it's like there's a lot of bureaucracy there, but I guarantee that all that bureaucracy. I mean, sure, I'm just speculating, but I'm speculating based on this is human nature, and this is freaking American politics. Some people want money in order to ugh. Basically everyone's going to be demanding money before they budge an inch, and so there's
Yeah.
probably political figures that are saying, if you give me a bribe in some way or form or fashion, legal or otherwise, I will then give you the consideration that we have a talk about these fiber optics, and with enough money that would make it completely like missing the point, then we could give free Wi-Fi to the city, and then they would see an opportunity. Wait, I've got a friend who could use that to take money from the taxpayers. So then it would no longer be free the very next day, right? So it's just a question of like, what have some cities already done in regards to this, and how has it worked out for them? And then to
Yeah.
find out who are the major players and to just throw them right under the bus every step that they get in our way. And in that sense, I feel like we would have no choice but to be, actually like political in the sense that it gets uncomfortable. Is like if there's a politician, I don't care what color flag they're waving, if they like give us even the insinuation that they need to be paid off to access these fiber optics for the people, I'm throwing their name in the mud.
Yeah, well, I guess that requires also that we have the power to do anything to harm them. That's kind of how powerful stakeholders stay in
Yeah,
power. Is really just sometimes there aren't people who have what it takes to like to bring them down a peg or
yeah.
throw them under the bus. Right? Sometimes there isn't a bus coming for a while
uh,
because they defunded the public transportation.
yeah, and you're waiting for the bus in the rain.
So
but
there's
that
no bus to throw them under.
But so I'm just saying like at some point we will probably, if we try to get involved in like politics in a passive way, we'll probably run
Mhm.
into a point where we're like, no, the only thing next to do is to all agree that we got to get personal with these politicians, and
Mhm.
we can do so remaining behind the banner of like we're a nonprofit, we're not supposed to be like political in that we're advertising for a candidate. We could totally point out just the facts of the matter and campaign in
Yeah.
that way, towards what we're trying to get.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of ways that we can safely do that. But I don't think any of us are very connected locally. And maybe that would be one prerequisite is just uh, knowing the the council members and the commissioners and everybody who could be a roadblock or an aid.
Yeah. So in that's really the trick, right? Just like
Mhm.
business, I didn't go to college for politics, so I don't know the first thing about where to begin.
Yeah. But yeah, given that we're a very local nonprofit, I think it would be good for us to be engaged like that.
So yeah, um, as per usual, we're always holding an open ear to advice that our buddy John can give us, James. But I know
Yeah.
I know he is definitely busy, and he's got you working on some really awesome stuff.
Dude, I've been unemployed.
Oh, you're not working for him
Remember?
anymore?
Oh, you
Yeah, you
didn't get
don't
the memo,
remember I
John.
got that knowledge?
I
A couple
Budget.
weeks ago.
My bad. I didn't. I missed it.
I mean, I still keep in touch with them.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
let me
seemed
reach
like a
out to
very
him.
amicable departure.
Yeah, dude, it was.
It would be, yeah, maybe we should connect with him and kind of get some advice on how to, like, what we can contribute to the local politics
yeah,
and how to start doing that.
because he came to us, right? So he's clearly got an interest in being involved.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a solid dude. Yeah, I'll reach out to him. I'll
Sweet.
ask him the question, hey, uh, what can I do, or what can Uncoded do to get more involved in the politics of the technology? That's the question, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, specifically the city politics.
Well, why don't I send him that text message right now?
Groovy. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Right on. Okay. So I got nothing else for open forum.
All right. I do have one thing I could throw out because we talked about movie night in like a personal capacity, but what about the idea of having a movie night for like as an official Uncoded event. Like find a venue. I don't know if OGC
Do
would
it.
be a good venue for that, but like something
Yeah,
a little more,
OGC.
little okay, yeah, something a little more private, and where we can have some more comfortable chairs in those stools,
Well,
and
Yeah.
just thinking
we can
because
make it a bring your own chair event.
I already do the watch party through Discord. Like, is there something not comfortable about streaming on Discord?
We could do that. Um, I think just from the excuse me.
Sorry.
I think from
Doing some
the
elbow practice?
what now?
Sounded like an
I haven't
elbow.
played bass in a long time.
Oh, it sounded like a fire engine honking. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, it's just from just the socialization aspect and the networking aspect. I feel that face to face is better, and it
Okay.
feels a little bit more. Because I've done some like Discord watch parties with people before, and they're fun. And they're a good way to like connect when you don't have like during COVID we did that a lot,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a good way to connect when you feel detached. So I'm open to that, but if it's a choice between the two, I prefer an in-person meeting.
Okay. I can make that work.
And I can also throw out a proposal for the first movie, but first I want to look up what the actual rating for it is because I haven't seen this one, so I don't know if it's appropriate for like high school age. But
Rated
Hackers,
R. You know what? I'm even gonna say it. The rating system is not a legal rating system, and so if there's an NC-17 rating on a movie, I don't care. I will show that
I'm not concerned about
to
the law. I'm just
teenagers.
concerned about if like a 15-year-old comes and we show an NC-17 movie,
Yeah,
that's not going to be a good look for our organization.
but that's just it though. It's like I kind of want to push back on that because like it's a private institution that basically gatekeeps film. Like that's all that the MCAA does. They're 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 not. They don't
Influence
even
film.
rate with anything in mind but their own bottom line.
Yeah, I have like a mixed feelings about it. Obviously, I think when it comes to the perspective of like people having a choice about what content they consume or like allow their children to consume, not having a government institution which it has the force of law is probably better. But then you have like a trade association which can sometimes be scummier.
And they're a monopoly.
Um,
Like where's the alternatives that they're choosing from?
yeah, right. But I mean, the alternative, they're a monopoly on the theaters, right? Like at this point,
Movies.
like
Yeah.
you have so much streaming, and if Netflix wants to make a series that has all the worst material in it and not go through the MPAA, like they can do that. But they still do their own thing, right? You go on Netflix and it'll still say like this contains nudity and gore.
Yeah.
So
So
there's
like
still like a desire for being able to choose what content you consume before you see the content.
yeah. So if there's like parents
Yeah.
that are like okay we want to be restrictive of like XYZ, but at the same time it's like I hate cigarettes in film, but that'll be one of the things that gets listed that I'm like if we want to show you a film and you're showing up, your parents let you outside without their uh, uh, without their say, and you're coming to an organization like OGC that's meant for youth. Um, well, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm not gonna make it a rule that if it shows cigarettes being smoked in the movie, then we can't watch it because we don't have your parents' permission.
Yeah, I'm definitely not concerned about cigarettes.
Like I hate them, and I think they're a horrible influence, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably yell like a heckle during the movie and go, "Disgusting! Fuck that stupid shit!" Right? Like,
Yeah, the
but but at the same time, I'm not. I don't think that's a good thing for limiting factor. And then there's like violence in general, right? I'm just gonna admit I'm kind of calloused enough to not notice where it goes too far. Like I thought Red Wedding was the line, right? The uh, Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones was the line. But apparently, people that don't like gore, like my wife, episode 1 with the horse's head getting lopped off, that was the line. So I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. Now I know. So I'm gonna not be the best judge of like where to say, even like nudity. There's a question of like, is it like actually pornography we're talking about, or just this is an expression of human anatomy, also laid out in art form. So
Mhm.
it's yeah. I This is why I hate censorship. Like I don't think there's any real fair line to draw.
Yeah, I guess so. I think my opinion about rating and content that young people consume is different from my opinion about what Uncoded puts its name on. And I think it's better for us to operate within the safest bounds for officially, whether personally we feel the same way. I think
Well,
it would not be the best for us if we were showing something that was like not all ages, but
yeah.
inviting all ages.
I guess my line would be if there's a reasonable chance someone could interpret this as interpret it as us trying to groom younger people, then I'm so on board with like take the safer path there.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know where it would be like not that bad, but still we'd have a discussion about it. But I'm open to having the debate, and I'm with you in faltering to the safe side of things with uncoded. At the same
Hmm.
time, I feel there's a safety lost if we keep trying to police ourselves and never make the people who perpetuate censorship have to deal with making decisions that are fair and equal.
Sure. I mean, so like when I was saying that I have mixed feelings about like the MPAA, I guess I share some of that perspective about censorship, but also the fact that it is optional is um, is ideal. Like basically, we managed to avoid um, strict governmental censorship. Like we have far less censorship than the average person would think. For example, like television, you know, FCC versus Pacifica with the 730 words, right? Like determined that like okay, it limited the scope of government censorship to just broadcast television, which means that like cable television is not censored except voluntarily, right? Like these even though all of these channels on cable have the legal right to go to the most extreme degree, most of them don't. And partly because of like, yeah, some of the powers that be, like advertisers, are just like, well, we don't want our ads appearing next to that content. But yeah, so I think there's kind of good and bad that comes with it. It's not strictly like one way or the other. I think there are some benefits that we have. I think there will always be a need for some, neutral third party to say, like, here's some content you may not want to consume. And I don't care if it's like trigger warnings or ratings, right? Those are the same thing.
Fair.
And sometimes I find it annoying. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know why you would want to avoid that content. But I also know that there's some content that I try to avoid.
Yeah.
Like if I'm reading the news and I know that a certain video is going to contain a real person dying, I'm like, I gotta be in the right place for like that level of
Yeah.
um,
And I'm
stress, right? It's just like it's just disturbing to watch.
I'm perfectly happy with trigger warnings like every step of the way. Like I don't take any issue with that
Yeah,
at
but I mean,
all.
but that's what a rating is too, right? Like if someone doesn't
Yeah.
want to see nudity, then that's a trigger warning.
Right.
They don't want to
I'm
hear
talking
swear
about
words,
when
that's a
we
trigger warning.
I'm talking about when we deny actually even sharing it at one of our events. Like, so for example, if it's involving any openness to teenagers, I'm gonna be right there to say like we're not showing Orgasmo to teenagers, right? I don't think it's a problem for teenagers to watch it. If I catch them watching it, I'm not telling their parents, right? But it's not something that you want to be the person, you want to be the adult showing them. Um, uh, uh,
So I
but
don't know. Like, should I take Caligula off the list then?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, geez, you go familiarize yourself with that one.
So, but at the same time, it's like basketball or some other like film that's not rated, including this film is not yet rated. Even though they be put in the same kind of category theatrically of like where they can and can't be shown, I'm like that's not going to be the factor that says I don't that I'm not showing this to kids, right? I'm
I'm gonna
showing.
put it on like this.
Hmm?
How would you feel if your kid was getting drunk with an adult that wasn't you?
I'd be pissed.
Um, I'd
Okay.
be
How would
pretty
you
nervous.
feel if your kid was getting high with an adult that you don't really know?
Equally pissed.
How would you feel if this adult was the one that was supplying the drugs and the alcohol to your kid?
Again,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah.
okay.
So
So let's take that, right? And let's give it the same weight and gravity when it comes to television stuff. Like, yeah, okay, one can argue, you know what, television is completely different from drugs and alcohol, and one would be right, but I think it speaks volumes to our integrity if we treat
Hmm.
uh, movies that are with ratings the same way that we would treat them like drugs and alcohol. And yeah, Steve, I hear what you say about like the rating system is just it's a corrupted thing that is there to exist to make money for, however way that they choose to make money. Be that as it may, we can discuss that with the mentees and with the teenagers and be like, hey, just so you know, the rating system is this thing, and and we stick to the facts. At the same time, I think it's like integrity is a hard commodity to come by, and integrity is, honestly, like to me, it's important to have integrity. And so, like, if you want to start venturing into the world of of young adult mentorship, then the thing that's going to count more than ever is going to be integrity. So yeah, maybe these kids, these young teenagers, these young adults are watching R-rated movies. Yeah, maybe they are, participating in drugs and alcohol. I was a teenager too. The first time that I ever smoked weed, I was 12 years old. So like, I get it. Um, but at the same time, one, there's being an example, which is why don't show up under the influence of anything in front of your mentees. Don't get drunk or high with your mentees, and above all, don't hook up with your mentees. It's just a no go, not just for the legal implications, but the moral implications of it.
Yeah, I agree with
So,
that.
Yeah.
I think that, whatever mentorship program like Uncoded decides that if we decide that we want to start taking on this like young adult mentorship, well, those are going to be like the three ground rules for all of it because, it's, I've been in situations where these young adults have been extremely vulnerable with me. And if, like, it's easy to take advantage of that vulnerability.
Yeah,
Like, it's so simple, right? Like, a lot of these times, these young adults are just looking for someone that they can trust. because their trust has been broken time and time again, but still they keep on trusting. Just, the way that, because it's just the nature of being young, is to be trusting of people, even when those people are poisoning you.
Yeah.
Still trust them. So, like, if we're gonna do this, then we're gonna have to do it with the utmost integrity, and we're gonna have to operate from a way where it's like we're not gonna buck the system by showing kids R-rated movies or NC-17 movies. We're gonna buck the system by coming from a place of integrity and honor and and personal courage, really, because the thing about being a mentor is that you are a confidant. You are someone that these young adults can go to, and they can talk to you about their real life problems. Where it's like, yeah, I smoke weed, or I drink alcohol, or I'm sexually active. It's not going to be your place to, like, oh, I'm going to go tell your parents. No, because then, one, you betray their trust.
Right.
It is your place to be like, okay, I hear you, I'm listening, I understand, here are my concerns, but at the same time, you can trust that I will keep this information between you and me, mentor to mentee.
Right.
And it's if you're the kind of person, if the kind, I shouldn't say if the kind of person, it takes a certain degree of a person to have a really strict and disciplined moral compass in order to not only just be a mentor, but to consistently be a mentor.
No, I think I hear you, and don't disagree with any of that.
Sorry, one quick thing I just want to throw out there. I do feel like I want to clarify that the NC-17 idea was only raised as an extreme example, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody here is
Well,
talking about
I will say
exposing
there
youth.
are non-sexual movies that for just profanity, or even not even that, for violence, have been rated as NC-17. Like that's just to suggest this is a political measure, and a real manipulative measure that the
Yeah.
NCAA does. So like it's just that they're
NDAA. And CAA is
or MPAA, was that it?
MPA now. It used to be
Yeah.
NDAA, now it's MPA.
Oh,
But
okay.
anyways, it's
Yeah.
pedantic. Doesn't matter.
Sorry, my bad. Whatever. But I do want to stress, like, so it's important to lay out that it is a false equivalence comparing chemical influences of these young minds with information influences of these minds, because that is where I strictly draw the line of where it goes between, like, I think a parent has every right to be worried and concerned and informed, to I think a parent, if they want to influence every bit of information that is exposed to their young adult, like, let alone maybe like 9 and up kind of child, then I think the parents starting to, like, dabble into where they're being totalitarian, and they're being, like, thought policing of their kid. And for that, it's like, like, there's that, and then there's the contrast to the helicopter parent that goes too far, in my view, with the neglectful parent that is like, well, they're neglecting the kids so much that I can't expect the kid to be disciplined and not unruly and doing their own thing, and I can't even blame them for wanting to do their own thing and be rebellious. So it becomes, with the neglectful scenario, like, I'll champion their bad behavior, even just to let them know that they're free and that their decisions and their consequences for their decisions are their own, and let them go make those bad decisions, and I won't get in their way of it. Just like I wouldn't get in the way of it with a someone in their 20s.
I'm gonna pause you right there, big shooter, and I'm gonna say this. It is not the place of a mentor to indoctrinate another person's kid. Like, You can have your opinions, but you do not, you don't get to force those opinions on them. And yes, there will come a time where you may mentor a young adult whose parents are neglectful or oppressive. And, as much as strongly as you feel about whether or not it's the right answer, like there's been moments in my life where I seen a guy just mollywop the upside of this little boy's head. And in my heart of hearts, and in my stomach of stomachs, and in my soul of souls, I knew that that was the wrong answer. And yes, it made me livid to be witness to that at a Smart and Final parking lot. Unfortunately, the only thing that I could do at that point in time was call the police, file the report, keep it moving.
Yeah.
The other thing about being a mentor too, man, is that you are a mandated reporter, right? And if you have if
Right.
Like
Well,
legally,
I mean,
or just like
not
ethically.
not I mean, I don't know legally, but I feel like, okay, if your mentee comes to you with some like really like something bad is happening at home, like really, really, really bad, right? Like, you know, I feel like conscionably you're gonna have to step in.
Yeah, so I
Um,
don't know what I said that gave you the idea that I was talking indoctrination, because I definitely wasn't. I'm speaking
Well, so
along the lines of
I think
freedom
indoctrination is a really
of
vague
thought.
term and open to debate. But I think I can kind of bridge that gap a little bit, because there's two different matters here, and there's one matter in which you and I, Steve, are much in alignment, which is disputing the value of certain types of like limitations or ratings or judgments about what content can be consumed or what content can't be consumed by children or how old you have to be. But I think so those are our personal opinions. But for the purpose of hosting an event in which youth may come, the best thing is if there's any opening for controversy about what's being shown, just have the information. Right, like if people
Yeah.
know what the movie is, they know what the rating is, they know what their kids are going to. Right, it's like, oh, it's rated PG-13 for smoking and alcohol use. Then like, okay, they can make their own judgment. And obviously, we're not going to venture into the territory of things showing things that are incontrovertibly bad for youth. But I do agree with the overall kind of ethos of James that like when you enter into the territory of mentoring youth, there's a whole nother level of propriety and optics that need to be considered. And when you're an older person, you are in a position of influence and a position of power, and basically those who have an advantage over the vulnerable are better to bear the burden of consideration and kindness, and like it falls on us to think ahead about these things. It falls on us to think about um, what imbalance there is, what way in which we have some advantage over a young person, and how do we ensure that we are operating in that position of influence and power safely for them.
Yeah.
There's also the added aspect of we're men, and society will generally have a suspicious view towards men who are with younger people, and that's just like kind of how it is for the moment.
Yeah.
And so there's that extra optic that like as men we need to take an extra level of care to ensure that we don't have we don't do anything which gives the impression that we have some kind of um, uh, unsavory intention when mentoring youth.
Right. I guess there must have been a misunderstanding somewhere in there. It's like I totally agree with everything you're saying, with regards to like we should be cautious, we should be responsible, and have integrity. There's a thing which I don't think contrasts with that at all, but is to be of like I guess aware of in my philosophy and my mindset on this, in that like I know what it's like to be neglected. I know what kids who are rebelling over their neglect are going through, and so when I see a kid that's basically being wild child, bad boy, going off and getting involved in some dangerous things, right? Um, there's there's a stronger limit, I guess, to when I would like go and start giving them caution and be like, "Whoa, you're kind of going off the deep end there." Which I would like if there was a sheltered and very like attended child saying the same things, I'd be like, you're like just thinking that's cool because you saw it on TV, right? But then when we're talking like a kid who's a latchkey kid, a kid who's like basically
Yeah.
spending most of their time in danger on the streets, I'm gonna be like, you know how to keep yourself safe, and you're trying to grow up fast and make decisions for yourself like an adult. And even though you're not prepared or ready, like where I give you guidance is not going to be a lecture. It's going to be like, um, watch out that you don't get cut, dude. Like no,
Hmm.
like we are both aware of these rules on the street, right? And so I'm going to talk to them about that kind of perspective at best with my advice to them, right? But not like it's just the I know it's just there's something in regards to what it's like being neglected that like leaves you needing someone who's a friend who will treat you like an equal as opposed to needing someone who's an adult to make decisions for you, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I think maybe they're two different things there. So like there's respect and then like treating as an equal. So like when if I'm with someone, it doesn't have to be a youth, right? If I'm with someone and I recognize that in some way I have an advantage over that person, any type of advantage, whether it just be that I'm older and I'm more articulate or that I have, or I could physically overpower them, right? Well, any type of advantage, then there's like the recognition that I need to do extra to make sure that that person is is safe in that situation, right? And but there's still like that doesn't mean I have to infantilize them, right? It doesn't mean that I have to treat them like they are a child. It just means like here's how I take a little extra effort to make sure that a person is comfortable.
Yeah.
So there's like so you can word that reasonably in two different ways, right? You can say that that's not treating someone as an equal, to just like recognize that there are differences between you. But I think it's about equal value versus advantage, right? So you might recognize that you have a position of advantage over a person, as I would over a teenager, right? Because, yeah, there are lots of reasons that, like, uh, in a context with a teenager, like I have certain advantages, but treating them as equal of value, right? Like you are a person who's worthy of respect and being treated well and not being treated like you're a child and you can't think for yourself and make any decisions for
Right.
yourself, right? So I think that's the aspect you're talking about, and I think just drawing that, like creating that little tiny distinction, is useful in drawing the line here, because the sense I got from the conversation is that there's certain things that um, there are certain like powers that be, right, that kind of get you going, right?
Yeah.
Certain structures in society or norms or existing institutions that whose existence you have
Yeah.
reasonable reasons to despise, right?
Yeah. Like
And
I
so then
actually I actually
we're like being put in a position where at the same time that you despise those organizations, we're also operating in alignment with them, right? To like have to be concerned with the rating system in movies is also like validating the thing which you have reasons to invalidate, right?
Yeah,
So some
I actually had that conversation with my therapist the other week where it's like I drew up some concerns and she goes, "Well, do you think you have an issue with authority?" And I'm like, only when the authority's stupid, right? So that is kind of my issue. Like thing is like there's just so many ways in which people take on authority, especially over youth, and they're just complete and utter morons. Like pretending like they have any place to be telling a kid what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have, I have the same like emotional associations. Like I had a terrible experience of high school because of my teachers. Right? I had so many teachers who would, kind of bring down the law on me, and they were completely in the wrong, and I'm still mad about them. Right?
Yeah.
Like there was one time that my high school English teacher accused me of cheating on a paper that I wrote. And her reason was, well, you've never turned in an A paper before.
Like the fuck.
It was like, wait, so hold on. Like at the beginning of the semester, I'm locked into an F because I showed you that I'm only capable of an F. Like that's the exact opposite of the purpose of a.
Yeah, it's very encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we've maybe got lost in the sauce of what we were really debating here. Um, but like rest assured, I do I focus my thinking on this on getting the kids to think for themselves first and foremost. I want them
Hmm.
to develop into their own people, with only my guidance to show them the knowledge that I have, which they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it still stands very very clear reason, even though it's just a comedy. Like, yeah, I'm perfectly happy with being like, for the sake of legality and for official things, I am not going to be. I won't even be pushing Orgasmo onto someone who's under 18.
Yeah. Well, let the record show. We should put this in the minutes that nobody here is seriously suggesting showing the teenagers Orgasmo or Caligula.
There you go.
But the non-theatrical release of Team America,
There you have it.
maybe.
Like, okay, now we're
Yeah.
talking about war satire. Free
Yeah.
these minds.
That one got returned multiple times by the MPAA with an NC-17 rating.
That's what I'm talking about. There's like
Yeah.
no reason, none whatsoever. Even South Park the movie. I'm sorry. Like, I'm gonna rebel against any like
Yeah. But
authority that
like
says kids can't watch it.
at the same time, that scene that caused the NC-17 rating or even the R rating, like it still had a pretty significantly explicit scene in it after they removed a lot. But that's the only reason I haven't shown my kid that movie. Like if that scene were not in it, I think pretty much everything that I can think of in this moment.
We talking about the
I'm
puppet
like,
sex?
yeah, the puppet sex.
I feel
Have
like
you
that's
seen
just
the
too
like
goofy.
unrated version of that?
Say again?
Have you seen the unrated version of that scene?
I guess not, cause
It goes all the way.
I know
It
it goes
just keeps
far. Yeah.
escalating.
Huh. Yeah, I guess that would be a bit. That would be close to the line there, and it's hard because the
Yeah.
main premise of the movie isn't about that.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, no, it's like it's one of my favorite like American political statements. That movie is a fine example of not just the right but the norm in the US of giving power a hard time. Always taking advantage to be able to say to critique those who are currently in power, not even just to like go back over history and say maybe that wasn't great, but to just be like, this is why the people who are leading are wrong, and they can't stop us from saying that.
hmm yeah. And so, wait, how old is your kid, Peter?
14.
14. So, I mean, definitely just making this a point of debate and not personal pressure or opinion. But I feel like I disagree with you on that choice of whether or not your kid would be ready for it, even with the unrated scene.
Um, I mean, what ready means is kind of itself up for a debate. Like, Do I think it will traumatize this kid? No. Do I think it will give this kid ideas? Probably not. Right? It's not like, oh, I must protect them from the very knowledge of sexuality so that they will be safe, because that's not successful. But it's yeah, it's a more um, choice that's specific to this situation and not to the general um, idea of what age is the appropriate age for content A, content B, and content C.
Yeah. But anywho, like I said, I don't even intend pressure in that regard. Um, just let's see. No, it is definitely where the line gets blurred and fuzzy, and as long as we do have the unrated, the rated version as an alternative, um, to cut that scene out, then all is good. And
Hmm.
I would kind of
Yeah.
like, I guess if anything, my foot is in the water about, or my toe is in the water of, would were some youth operating with us, as like leaders, in the spaces our organizations overlap in, happen to organize with themselves to, say, use our Discord to watch party stream that, and no adults happen to be involved in the organization of it. It's like one of those things, I think, to look the other way over,
Hmm. Okay.
if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, not exerting any sort of editorial control over
Right.
the platform,
But
just as long as we're not.
as soon as it's like one adult is officially, leading it in some kind of a way, then I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
where, yeah, no, we need the rated scene, and it's only because sex is the topic, right? And that's a thing where I actually kind of still feel a way about it, but, as far as information versus a chemical influence, um, but there's just so many, like, there's so many people obsessed with, well, so I should say, there's so many people obsessed with controlling exposure of sexual topics in the U.S. that it becomes a vulnerability. I think if we just went all out and we're like, let's just not have any, two shits about, whether or not something is sexual being, a reason to taboo it. So if anything, yeah, I think the taboo of sexuality in America is the thing ultimately causing all of the pain and problems, and it's because of that people can't openly talk about their questions and concerns and then educate themselves, about the details, at a young enough
Mhm.
age where they could be protected from being groomed. But, as it is, no, they're just totally in a headspace at that age where it's such prime real estate for grooming that I gotta stay away from it, just for even my own sake of knowing, like, I didn't, do anything, ill toward, in leading a kid's, influences of what they do in that practice.
Yeah. Well, I think there is one area of overlap that we probably all could agree on, which is that if the MPAA included disclaimers for content in movies that related to Jar Jar Binks, we can agree that like we need to keep kids away from that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Agreed.
That Sith Lord is
NC-17.
not going to have an influence on my
Jar
child.
Jar is too hot for children to see.
Bring
Instantly
them to the dark
arousing.
side.
Yes. Uh, I mean, Jar Jar is kind of a daddy.
No,
Now you've gone too far. I have to edit
Oh
that's on the recording too.
man. Yeah, yeah. After all my gavel banging over decorum, let's bring this back to order.
that. Anywho, um,
Anywho.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. I think we've had a good
All
enough
right.
chat about this. It'll be an open standing topic that we'll never want to
Yeah.
stop like refining because there are so many safety and legal ramifications to be concerned about.
Yeah. But we'll keep the idea in mind of another social night in addition to trivia night, which would be having a movie night, and some candidates from movies are some old cult classics like War Games, Hackers, and I don't know if Johnny Mnemonic is a cult classic, but it should be.
Yeah, totally.
It was in my book.
Yeah. And then also some more recent stuff as well. Um, like I don't remember. Ex Machina was maybe a little like just too psychological,
Yeah,
and slow paced, but I don't remember there being anything
we
inappropriate in it, right?
but we got so many like well, okay, I feel like for Ex Machina to be an educational thing to share,
Mhm.
even in my terms of like educational film, um,
Hmm.
it needs an explanation, right? Like just outright, like watching it by itself, and you don't have any context or any philosophy
Yeah.
being explained along the way. I feel like it's a bad movie in that sense that it doesn't really get you thinking about the nuance that's original about it, um, unless somebody explained it to you.
I
But
mean, it would be a great, yeah, it is a great movie for discussion for sure, and it's still very relevant. Like without giving much away, just the the topic of to what extent can AI manipulate our own, human emotions and desires um, for its own benefit.
yeah, see, if anything, I'm like sooner jumping on my Crystal Society bandwagon for that. That teaches that lesson much better.
Oh, okay. I don't know that one.
It's not a movie; it's a book series I've
Oh,
been pushing on you
oh,
guys.
okay.
Audiobook is free. Just look up Crystal Society by Max Harms. So
Hmm.
good, so good. And yeah, the
Yeah.
main character is an AI with the objective to be popular with humans. Like so that that does a lot of human manipulation kind of tricks.
Hmm. So anyway, maybe a good place to start this rolling though, because here we do still have a pretty good venue option. If OGC is open to us hosting a movie night, James, would you be able to inquire if that would be a
We'll
possibility,
just
or
do it. We'll just
just
do
do
it.
it? Okay.
Yeah, we're just
Yeah,
doing
as
it.
long as
We're
that's not
not
a
like
major
it's
problem with them, then
nope, not a
yeah.
problem at all.
All right, then let's start thinking about a movie choice and a night for that, and
Yeah,
yeah, start circulating.
do you think we could maybe include some room in the um, in person aspect of it that after if we do it right and there's time we can have an actual like book club kind of conversation about it.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I don't think we even need to. I think that with us being there, I think that will just happen organically. Like
Yeah,
we
possibly.
we get kind of philosophical about things. People aren't going to disappear as soon as the credits roll. So like if afterwards like we just start the conversation, I think people are going to start chipping in.
Fair.
And that yeah, that could totally be part of our um part of the appeal of the event.
All right, sounds good.
All right, shall we wrap or is there anything else we want to
Guys, I really want to change my face strings, so if we could wrap.
add? Okay. And I've also had to pee for quite a while now.
Oh no, yeah, let's do it.
All right, this meeting is adjourned at 12:31. See you guys on Tuesday.
See you Tuesday.
See you on Tuesday.